Today, June 28, 1914, we have just received breaking news that the Archduke Franz Ferdinand and his wife of Austria have been assassinated by a Serbian nationalist in Sarajevo, Bosnia. We will have this shocking catastrophe fully covered live from Sarajevo with correspondent Carissa Carbone.
Thanks, Taylor. It's Carissa Carbone here for NBC News 5. We're here in Sarajevo, Bosnia, where the Archduke has just been assassinated. I'm here with a concerned citizen. How are you and the citizens affected by the assassination of the Archduke?
I'm deeply saddened and angry with the assassination of our beloved Archduke. Tensions have been high lately in Europe, but we never thought it would result like this. We are genuinely concerned for the safety of our country and surrounding countries because we don't know what's going to happen now.
And that's very understandable then. NBC 5, we are signed off.
Today on NBC5, we bring to you this week's events that leave the world shocked. On July 28th, Austria has declared war on Serbia. Just 4 days later, Germany declared war on Russia, and on August 3rd and 4th, Germany declared war on France, and Britain declared war on Germany. We have received word that the Serbian government has ordered the Serbian army to mobilize and have asked the Russians to help. Stay tuned for more updates as the world waits to see how this war will unfold. Hello folks, we bring to you updates of the war. We have word of new weaponry affecting the war. Lethal technology has been used for the first time in history with machine guns, poison gas, flamethrowers, tanks, and aircrafts. Artillery is becoming more advanced in size, range, and killing capabilities. War at sea is also becoming more advanced with upgrades in the technology of submarines and U-boats. This very well could increase casualties. But could these advances in technology speed up the war? Stay tuned for more updates here at NBC5.
Although in 1914 President Woodrow Wilson pledged neutrality for the United States, on April 6, 1917, the Senate decided that the U.S. would join the Allied powers in World War I under the command of Major General John J. Pershing. On June 26, 14,000 U.S. troops had landed in France to begin training for combat. Though the U.S. moved slowly into combat, the U.S.'s army eventually took the majority of the control over the Allied powers. By the end of the First World War, the U.S. had sent more than 2 million troops to Western Europe, and about 50,000 of those troops had lost their lives.
Today, November 11th, 1918, we are bringing you exciting news. The Allies have beat the Central Powers. Germany has signed an armistice with the Allies. This is the official end of World War I. The world remembers today the 9 million plus soldiers dead, 21 million plus soldiers injured, and the end of a horrible 4 years.
Good afternoon from NBC 12. I'm Carissa Carbone, and this is your Nightly News. After long debate, Congress has ratified the 18th Amendment to the United States Constitution. Congress has decided to prohibit the manufacture, sale, or transportation of intoxicating liquors for beverage purposes. The U.S. government has created this new law because of their concern about the adverse effects of drinking. The passing of this amendment is credited to the strong force of temperance societies. These groups had become a powerful political force, campaigning on the state level and calling for total national abstinence. So folks, today, January 16th, 1919, the 18th Amendment, also known as the Prohibition Amendment, was ratified by the Congress and will be in effect nationwide. Hello folks. We have updates on the country's reaction to the new Prohibition Amendment. A new breed of gangsters are beginning to arise within our country. These people are taking notice of the high level of demand for alcohol within our society. The extremely limited options of supply to the average citizen are causing new illegal tactics. With the imbalance of supply and demand, gangsters across the country are after profit. Al Capone in Chicago is one of the most famous gangsters of the bunch. These gangsters are hiring men to smuggle in rum from the Caribbean. These people are also known as rum runners, or people that are hijacking whiskey from Canada and bringing it into the United States. Others are buying large quantities of liquor made from homemade stills. The gangsters are then opening up secret bars for people to come in, drink, and socialize, which are known as speakeasies. Newly hired prohibition agents are beginning to raid these speakeasies, finding the stills and arresting gangsters, but many of these agents are being affected by bribery. The gangsters are becoming so wealthy from this illegal business they are able to pay off the officers, therefore going unnoticed. So fellow citizens, stay aware of your environment and follow your laws. Hello citizens, tonight NBC 12 is providing a nightly special on one of our country's most notorious gangsters, Al Capone. Alphonse Gabriel Capone was born in Brooklyn, New York in 1899 to two Italian immigrants. He was expelled from school at a young age of 14. He joined a gang and earned his nickname Scarface after being sliced across the cheek during a fight. By 1920, Capone had moved to Chicago, where he was soon helping to run crime boss Johnny Torrio's illegal enterprises, which included alcohol smuggling, gambling, and prostitution. Torrio retired in 1925 after an attempt on his life, and Capone, known for his cunning and brutality, was put in charge of the organization. Capone began to run organized crime in Chicago during the 1920s and took advantage of the Prohibition era. Capone was at the top of the FBI's most wanted list by 1930, but he avoided long stints in jail until 1931. He bribed city officials using intimidating tactics, witnesses, and maintaining various hideouts. He became Chicago's crime kingpin by wiping out his competitors through a series of gangland battles and slayings, including the infamous St. Valentine's Day Massacre in 1929, which Capone's men gunned down 7 rivals. This event helped raise Capone's notoriety to a national level. On this day, in 1931, gangster Al Capone has been sentenced to 11 years in prison for tax evasion and fined $80,000, which signals the downfall of one of the most notorious criminals of the 1920s. So folks, tonight we leave you a freed country of Al Capone. Good afternoon, folks. It is December 5th, 1933, and we are back with another nightly special. Tonight, the Prohibition will be discussed. The Prohibition Amendment worked at first. Liquor consumption dropped, arrests for drunkenness declined, average workers could no longer afford alcohol. This amendment really seemed to be working. Alcohol consumption dropped by 30%, and the United States Brewery Association admitted that the consumption of hard liquor was off 50% during Prohibition. These statistics, however, do not show the immense disobedience towards the law and law enforcement. The intensity of the temperance advocates was matched only by the slyness of those who wanted to keep drinking. Enforcing prohibition proved to be extremely difficult. The illegal production and distribution of liquor and bootlegging became rampant, and the national government did not have the means to enforce every border in America. By 1925, in New York City alone, there were anywhere from 30,000 to 100,000 speakeasy clubs. Demand for alcohol was outweighing demands for sobriety. People found clever ways to evade prohibition agents. They carried hip flasks, hollowed canes, and even false books. All in all, neither federal nor local authorities could provide the essential resources necessary to enforce the prohibition, and later the Volstead Act. The Volstead Act was a law introduced by the House to implement the Prohibition Amendment. This act was meant to define the process and procedures for banning alcoholic beverages, as well as their production and distribution. Prohibition was difficult to enforce, despite the passage of companion legislation known as the Volstead Act. In early 1933, Congress adopted a resolution proposing a 21st Amendment to the Constitution that would repeal the 18th. It was ratified by the end of that year, bringing the Prohibition era to a close. Prohibition made life in America more violent, with open rebellion against the law and organized crime, resulting in the end of the Prohibition era. Thank you for tuning in, folks, and a prolonged cheers to you all.